everybody, welcome back to Planet X News. It is January 18th, 2018. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we have so many things going on right now in space weather and also our worldwide weather. And there's some other things that I want to show everybody. Some discoveries that we're actually working on. And I'm just going to say this. Whatever is happening out there near our sun is most definitely affecting our planet in a very, very bad way. And there may be some people out there that disagree with me. And maybe the reason why they may disagree with me is because they just don't understand what is happening. Maybe they just don't put in the time that I do and that Dr. Albers does. But if you could just give me a few minutes, I want to go ahead and share our live stream on Facebook. And give me 1 second. Let some other people get in here to the live to our live stream. And I'm going to get a few things set up here real quick. Just give me a second. I'm going to go ahead and share this and set up my live chat so I can see all of you guys. There's a lot of things I've been analyzing over the past 24 hours and most of today. And some of these things, they're just not looking good. Just give me a second here. Okay. Okay, I see everybody's getting in here to our live chat. That's absolutely perfect. Listen, folks, very, very strange things happening. You know, again, like I've said before, there may be many, many people out there that disagree with me, and that's perfectly fine. Everybody is more than welcome to their own opinions. However, you know, myself and Dr. Albers, we spend 12, 13, 14, 15 hours a day analyzing everything that is going on around the world. Now, again, I don't know how other people make their observations, but I literally have 5 computers. 4 of them are active 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they are monitoring everything going on our planet and on our sun. And that gives me the ability to just about not miss anything. But, you know, it does take some time to go back and analyze all of this. And I found some things that, you know, they're just not right. They're a little suspicious. So, you know, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get right into this because I want all of you to understand, you know, what is happening right now. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. And we're going to just quickly take a look at the earthquake situation. And, you know, folks, it's just not looking good. It's not looking good at all. You know, a lot of the earthquakes that should be on this map, they've already been removed. I think it was yesterday, maybe less than 24 hours ago, there was an earthquake swarm in the state of Maine right up here. We're seeing earthquakes in regions where you just wouldn't see them. Magnitude 2.2 way up here in Canada. Another one right here. You know, we're seeing outbreaks of earthquakes in this region where my cursor is. Look at the state of California. Let me zoom in here real quick. I mean, look at this. It's stretching almost over into the border of Canada. Let me make sure we're... Just make sure my screen's sharing. Now, I've been watching these earthquakes very, very closely over the last couple of days, because we've had some pretty deep earthquakes that, once again, let me just move over here. Now, this earthquake wasn't real deep, this earthquake over here in Indonesia. However, it was a 5.9. I did check on a lot of the reporting stations for this specific earthquake, and this earthquake was over a magnitude 6.2. However, they continuously downgrade these earthquakes. Okay. I'm just trying to adjust something right now on the live chat. Sorry about that. So the region that I'm talking about, folks, it's right over here, around the Fiji Islands and New Zealand. There was an earthquake over here the other day that was over, well, almost, excuse me, it was almost 400 miles deep, 600 and some kilometers deep. Very, very deep earthquake. This affects the entire region here around Mexico, Central America, and all the way down through South America. Some of this energy does make its way up to the west coast of California. But as you can see, this side of the world is literally taking a beating. And again, folks, not all of the earthquakes are listed right here. You know, we can jump over to the European model, and we can take a look at what's going on. Now, all of these red dots, these are all of the earthquakes within the last 24 hours. The ones that you see in purple, those are ones that have happened within the last hour. So right over here, excuse me, right over here, we've had one, Northern California, a small earthquake, 2.5. Now they continue to have all of these quakes over here in this region of California. Something that we just have to keep an eye on. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of here. We're going to take a look at some of the SDO footage. And, you know, there has been some weird things going on, you know, once again, with the SDO. They're claiming that they're adjusting the cameras. And again, you know, they call this the SDO roll, where they state that they roll the spacecraft. Who knows? But all I know, some things are looking pretty strange, and there are some things of concern. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the SDO. This is the 211 angstrom extreme ultraviolet light. As soon as this damn thing stops jumbling around, matter of fact, I'm going to just go ahead and stop it right here. And we have this pretty large coronal hole right here. It is Earth facing. It is above the equatorial region of the sun, meaning the equator. Our Earth is about right here where this white spot is. And we're going to get to this white spot here shortly, because we've detected something right here that looks very, very strange. And if you were watching my live stream the other day, you saw that we detected our object, as we refer to it as Planet X. We captured that object right there. Seems to be something kind of suspicious looking right there as far as a circular object, but it just may not be nothing. You know, based on the 48-hour loop, that just may be an anomaly right there. But this coronal hole is Earth facing, and this will definitely create more situations here on our planet as far as our solar wind impacting our planet. I'm going to get to all of that here real shortly. For the past 2 years, I've been monitoring the SDO very, very carefully. The reason being, these coronal holes, they continually seem to open while they're Earth facing. And this is definitely creating a very dangerous situation here on our planet as far as the earthquakes go. Some scientists agree that our space weather definitely has something to do with increased seismic activity. Some will beg to differ. But there's plenty of scientific evidence out there that proves that the solar wind impacting our planet definitely creates an internal pressure within the Earth, and that internal pressure therefore stresses our tectonic plates. I also feel, and Dr. Albers has concurred, that these additional stresses on our tectonic plates, it seems to be coming from not just the solar wind, but also a possible magnetic pull from another magnetic field. And that magnetic field, it has to be coming from our object we refer to as Planet X. Right now, where we are positioned in our solar system, there's no other planets around us. None. Our back, meaning the Earth, our back is wide open to space. There's nothing behind us. Nothing. But something is interacting with the Earth at this point. Whether you want to believe me or not, listen, that is up to you. But I do my homework. I do my research. I know what is happening. So these coronal holes are opening up as they're Earth facing. They're starting to open up around this region right here. As the sun starts to turn, the coronal hole gets much larger as it's facing Earth. And I don't know if you guys can see this very clearly, but right here, look at this huge pattern. The coronal hole is here, but you can see all of the additional sun's corona right here. It's dissipating. It's starting to disappear. You can see the differences in the coloration. So as the SDO 48-hour loop progresses into tomorrow, I'm hoping that this doesn't occur, but it probably will, is this region here will start to fade to black. What you're looking at here is you're looking internally at the sun. When these coronal holes open up, they release all of what they refer to as the solar wind. It's actually not a wind as we perceive it. It's a very, very heavy stream of charged particles leaving the sun's atmosphere at very, very high speeds. Sometimes these speeds reach over 1,000,000 miles per hour. But over the last several months, these speeds of the solar wind have been very low. So low that it seems like there is an opposing solar wind going head to head. That would mean that there is something perturbing that solar wind, blocking it and slowing it down. Now, just because it slows it down doesn't mean the impact on the Earth is going to be any different. Those particles will make it to our planet. Our planet will absorb them all the way to the core of the Earth. That's a fact. When you start increasing the internal pressures and the internal heats of our core, we're going to have earthquakes. We're going to have volcanoes. They're going to encompass the whole entire planet. Now, something else that's occurring. We're also seeing this really, really crazy weather. People are wondering why. You're not going to find too many mainstream meteorologists or climatologists come right out and say our sun is to blame. They're not going to come out and say that there's something else out there that is to blame. They're just not going to do it. It would cause a worldwide panic. And again, our governments around the world, they're not going to have that. Just no way. So, as I've been watching what's been happening here with these coronal holes once again, things are not adding up. Meaning, the size of this coronal hole and the actual speeds of the solar wind are not matching up. In all my years of seeing coronal holes this size and matching them up with what the solar wind is showing me, the solar wind is in excess of over 1,000,000 miles an hour. However, these solar winds are now at very low levels. Very low levels. Some will argue with me and say it's this and it's that and it's this and it's that. However, whenever you start looking at all of the data and you start looking at our magnetopause and you see these very, very low pressures coming from behind the Earth. Behind the Earth. Not in front of it. Behind it. Then you have to start looking elsewhere. Because right now, there's not supposed to be anything behind our planet. Meaning, another planet. Earth is all by itself out there in the solar system right now. So, as I was reviewing a lot of this data from the SDO, and as you can see, the camera roll or whatever they want to call that, they seem to be doing this a lot lately. And who knows? Who knows what NASA does? Let me take a sip of my coffee for a second. So we've been watching this very, very closely over the last couple of days. And there's just some very, very weird things going on. And I want to go ahead and I want to point those out to you because Dr. Albers was reviewing this information also. And, we had one hell of a time trying to slow this SDO down with this supposed camera adjustment. To me, whenever they're doing this camera adjustment, what just happened here? The whole site just went kaplooey. Let's refresh this. Oh boy. Here we go. We may have just had an update there on time. Let's get back to what we were doing here. I've been watching this region right here in the middle of the sun. And we've detected something right there that is just not normal. And once again, folks, as I've stated before, you're not going to find nature making these 90-degree angles or these absolutely perfect spheres, especially on the sun. The surface of the sun, the corona, the inner corona, the outer corona, the photosphere, all of this is in constant motion. It's just like bubbling plasma. I don't think bubbling plasma can make absolutely perfect spherical shapes. I've gone over this with Dr. Albers for hours. We've talked about this over and over and over again. The other solar scientist that we confer with from time to time agrees. However, they have a kind of a public career, and they're not going to go on the record and state anything about what we're investigating. But we've sent, still photographs over, we've sent video footage over, and they do concur with us that it's not normal. There's something there. But they don't know what. They just won't say. So when you kind of have a public career, on television, on YouTube, on Facebook, on the internet, whatever. These people are chicken shit, and they're not going to come out here and make public scientific statements. That's a fact. But this little region right here, I'm going to show you as we stopped the SDO, and this took a little bit of time to actually get the SDO video player to stop at the precise point where we wanted it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull these screenshots up. And this is the first screenshot that I pulled up. And this took a lot of work to try to get it to stop right at this precise moment. And whenever we got it to stop right at this precise moment, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here for you. And you know what we were trying to review was what was happening with this very active region in the sun. There were some plasma loops that were bouncing back and forth, you know, coming up from this area, connecting here. It was just very, very weird watching this. But as we continued to watch this area over the last 72 hours, things have just gotten to the point where, you know, you start seeing these spherical shapes. I don't care what anybody has to say, folks. I mean, I just don't care what someone else's opinion is when it comes to what I'm telling you. The sun is not going to make perfect spherical shapes within its plasma, within its surface, within its corona. If somebody can prove to me beyond a shadow of a doubt that this occurs on the sun, I will shut my mouth. But until then, I'll keep talking. So, as we look, and this is as far as I can blow it up, and I'm sure all of you can see that. So, we measured, once again, this sphere. We measured it from point to point. It's perfectly spherical. It is not out of shape, not even a fraction. If you took a compass, and I'm not talking about the north, south, east, and west compass, I'm talking about a compass that you would use to draw a circle. If you put the compass point directly in the middle and spin it around, it draws a perfect sphere. A perfect sphere. Once again, the captures and the finds that we showed you the other day, we did the same thing. Dr. Albers has a geometric program on her computer which allows her to measure and create shapes. She uses it to draw a lot of her diagrams for her reports. We found a new use for it. And that new use is measuring. Measuring these spheres. So, when measuring this sphere, right here, the measurement was perfect. Absolutely 100% round, spherical. A globe, a sphere, a three-dimensional object. So, what's happening right there? What is there? Now, if you remember the live stream that I held the other day, we were viewing an object that was right here 3 days ago. Now, we have this sphere dead center in the middle of the sun. The sun rotates from the left to the right. We feel that this object is orbiting and rotating with the sun. So as the sun continues through its own little personal rotation of about 27 to 28 days, this object is rotating and orbiting around the sun, but it is orbiting with the sun. As the sun rotates, it's almost like it is attached to a fixed point. So you say to yourself, is that possible? Yes, it is possible. It's very possible. It's also very possible that there is more than one of these objects. And this is not the only photograph that we captured like this on the SDO today. So we went into the 211, a different angstrom of light, extreme ultraviolet light. And again, it was bouncing back and forth and all over the screen, and we had to try to capture it at this point. So as we were looking at this, once again, I'm going to put this up to the screen. It's a little blurry because the quality of the SDO lately has gotten bad. I mean, it used to be very, very clear, and I use high definition programs and things of that nature, and we just can't bring the resolution up anymore. It seems that they have dulled all of the images. So, you know, we noticed something kind of spherical right here, but it measured, as we measured this sphere straight across, it did come back as being perfectly spherical. And I mean perfect. I'm going to move into the next picture because this one is slightly unclear. So this was just progressed one frame. That's it. One frame. If you watch it, I'll click back. They're actually out of order. So this was when it was one frame backwards. So if you take a look at this, you see an absolutely perfect. You could even see the outline, the dark outline underneath it and all the way around it. I mean, I don't know if I could clear this up a little bit. Let me see here. Let's just edit it together. See if we can clear it up a little bit. Let's intensify the clarity. Let's just do a quick auto enhance. Tone that down a little bit. So again, you know, you can kind of see a three-dimensional sphere right there. And again, folks, you know, these are in different extremes of ultraviolet light. So, you know, each one of these different colors that we see on the SDO, they're going to show us something different. So, let's move into the next photograph. Now, once again, the reason why this is so low like this is because at this point the SDO was jumping up and down and side to side and up and down and back and forth. And again, it was very difficult to try to stop it where we wanted. Once again, I haven't done anything to these photographs yet to, you know, bring up the high resolution or high definition, but I'll be working on that later on this evening. But once again, as you bring this up and you look in the same region, dead center, you're looking at something in the photograph that is perfectly spherical. So how is that possible? I mean, that's an open question. If any of you have an answer for me, let me know, because in nature, you know, nature is just not going to systematically make 90-degree angles. You know, it's not going to make perfect spheres. So when you take a geometric computer program that allows you to measure angles and spheres and cylinders, and you overlay this, and this object is coming back as perfectly spherical from one end to another. The program even allows you to segment this object. And when I mean segment, let's go into layman's terms. We could slice it up like a pizza pie, okay? I'm sure the trolls are going to have fun with that, that verbiage. Let's try to clear this up together. And again, this isn't the program I'm using here right now. This is not my main program to create things into high definition. That takes a little bit longer. But let's just adjust the clarity and let's see what we see. Well, there you go. We've adjusted the clarity somewhat, and there you go. You can actually see the perfect spherical outline, and that is identified by this darker edge. Let's see if we can clear this up a little bit more. Let's just save that for future reference. So let's take a look at this. Now that we've cleared it up together, you be the judge. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think that that's actually an anomaly on the sun? Or do you actually think that is a spherical object which would have to be some type of a stellar core, a star of some kind? Because that would absolutely in no way, shape, or form be a planet, because the sun would just, the planet would be gone, vaporized, blown up. So this has to be an object that is capable of getting that close to the sun. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I don't mind coming on here and showing you my techniques to uncover these objects, because I would like all of you to do the same thing. So I don't ever want you to think that I'm trying to pull the wool over your eyes or make you think that something is there when it's actually not. So we did some minor color changes and some minor, we didn't even add filters, so let's scratch that. No filters were added here. We just made some minor adjustments in the color and the contrast and the clarity to bring this object out a little bit. If this object was part of the sun's plasma, part of the sun's corona, do you actually think that it would be perfectly spherical? I mean, that's a really big question. Do you think the sun is able to produce these beautiful spheres? I don't think so. This is as far as I could zoom into it. Now, what I'm going to be doing later on this evening is I'm going to be working with all of these photographs. I'm going to try to do it rather quickly, and I'm going to try to put all of these photographs into 4G, as we call it. Super high definition. 4G right now is, I mean, NASA uses it, so I have the ability to do it, and but it takes some time. I have to adjust each and every one of these photographs, and I have to upload it into the other program, adjust things, and then download it. But my computer's pretty strong, pretty fast, but I do have a bunch of photographs that I have to go through, so it will take me a little bit of time. Whenever those photographs are done, I will publish all of them on the Planet X News Facebook page and our website for all of you to see. You're more than welcome to download those photographs and share them on your Facebook page. But again, I just ask, please don't misrepresent what I am showing. I've had others do that before, you know, and they're out there, oh, look, it's Nemesis, it's Nibiru. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the fact of the matter is, we don't really know what the hell these things are. Okay? Because no one's been out there to sample the compositions of these objects. But all I know is they are threatening the sun is threatening our planet, and we are living in a complete freaking chaos right now on this planet. And there are millions, if not billions, of people walking around with their head up their rear end because they don't know anything about what is happening. So I talk about this network, all of us together, sharing this information, creating this network worldwide, creating a situation where others can see, start to understand, and learn. And that's what it's all about, folks. We have to continue to learn. And listen, there's not a day that goes by that I don't learn something new, or I don't find something new. So this is what we're currently looking at right now. And again, I'll share all of these photographs on the Planet X News Facebook page. Now, once again, I had some problems here because the SDO, they had this camera bouncing all over the place, and it was very, very hard to try and stop the frame where I needed it to be. Nothing has been done to this photograph, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to adjust the photograph together once again, and we're going to make this discovery together. But let's just take a look at the raw photograph. And this is on a composite of the SDO. So there you go. It's a little blurry because, again, this thing is in motion. And when I mean in motion, as you can see, the blur up here is in coordination with the colors on this composite image of the SDO. This is a composite image of the 211, the 193, and the 171. So they blend all three of these ultraviolet lights to get this purpley color with the brown in it. It allows them to see more definition of what's happening on the sun, specifically with plasma filaments and things of that nature. So I pull this up and I look at it, and bingo, there is a beautifully perfect sphere. Dr. Albers ran this photograph through her geometric program, and it came up perfectly spherical. Perfect. So, you know, if anybody else out there with a PhD in solar science, you know, if they want to step up to the plate and they want to explain this, I'd love to see it. I'd love to hear their explanation on what this is. Why is it there? How was it formed? But anyways, let's go ahead and make some adjustments on this. Let's do it together. I love togetherness. First thing we want to do, we want to go ahead and let's adjust the clarity, and this will bring the resolution up a little bit more. So that's all we've done right here. Already adjusting the clarity, and again, this is going to be a little blurry because the SDO camera they were moving it up and down, back and forth like a crisscross. Sometimes I think they do that on purpose when there's something within our view that they want to kind of mask. But then again, they always say, we're just adjusting the camera. Well, why do you have to adjust the damn camera on your $500 billion space satellite with extreme ultraviolet light cameras? It may be possible, you know, for them to adjust the cameras. I'll give them that. So let's go and make some other adjustments here. Let's see what we can... Now, whenever you kind of throw the contrast here, you can see this bright region. I'm going to leave it right here for a second. Even though this region And I believe that this is something that is occurring, an interaction between the sun and this object. I believe that this big bright area is a plasma connection, a direct connection, a magnetic connection with the sun, because this object is so close. This object definitely has a very, very, very strong magnetic field. It is interacting with the sun, and it is creating issues on our planet. The view that you have right now, folks, is from the Earth, which means this object is directly in line with the Earth. If you were able to step outside right now and look straight up, this is what you would be looking at. So, let's back off of this contrast, and let's tone it down a little bit, back where it was. And let's just pull it all the way out. So you can see this very, very bright region. I showed this to all of you 2 days ago on my live stream. I told you that this bright region right here, I was very, very suspicious of it, because it did not seem to be coming from the sun itself. It seemed to be coming from another object, lifted away from the sun's surface. Now, if you look at that, it is not on the surface of the sun. It's coming from this object right here. So let's make some more adjustments. Let's highlight this, see if we can, bring this up. This picture was kind of blurry because of the movement. Let's see if we can make a color adjustment here. That's not going to do it. This picture is very blurry. So no matter which way you move this, you notice that the sphere stays intact. So this picture, it's very, very blurry. I'm going to go ahead and convert this photograph to 4G, to a higher definition, and we'll see if we can bring more clarity out in it. But just looking at it from this view right here, I'll just leave it on the screen. I mean, can all of you see what I see? Or do you think I need glasses? Because I just had my vision checked 3 months ago, and it was pretty damn good. I mean, that SOB staring us right in the face. Right dead center in the middle of a... Look at that. And I haven't even put this through like filters. I mean, let's go ahead and just take a few seconds and do that. Let's see what we could find. Oh, that filter sucks. Oh. Oh, this defines the edge. It pixelates the image, but it clearly defines the spherical edge. Pretty intense. And again, to begin with, this photograph, because they were bouncing that damn SDO camera around, which really, really screwed up the clarity. But like I said, I'm going to do my best to get this cleared up later on this evening. And we'll see how much more definition we can find in this photograph. I'm going to go ahead and just save that for later on. Now, this is the 171. And again, I was trying very hard to capture this at that precise moment. And it was kind of hard because there was so much going on with this looping plasma right here, looping from one side to the other. And, you kind of see this, in sunspots and these little plasma loop connections. But it was so much going on right there, I really couldn't get a clear shot because, again, the SDO was bouncing all over the place, and I just couldn't capture it. Now, this is one frame advanced. Just one frame. Now it allowed me to see what I wanted to see. And there we go again. You can see if you just follow that black line right there all the way around. We're not paying attention to this plasma connection right here. We're paying attention to what's going on behind it. Let's see if we can make a little adjustment here. And now you can see it again. It's clearly defined. So there's a lot going on out there on our beautiful sun and its partners. You can see this bad boy's right there. Now I'm going to undo those changes because I'm going to work with this photograph a little bit more. Now this is one color change that I was working on before we went onto our live stream. And again, you can see there is a disruption going on behind this object or within this object in a connection with the sun. You can see this object right here. You know, folks, I don't even know what to call it anymore. You know, I mean, we refer to it as planet X, but, you know, it's really not a planet. A planet could not survive this close to the sun. It just could not. It would disintegrate. It would be vaporized within seconds. It would just rip it apart. But whenever you have two bodies, such as two stars, regardless if one is much bigger, you know, the sun is of a different composition than this object. The sun is very different than this core. I wish we actually knew the composition of this object and how it is able to survive this close to the sun. That's a big question. That's a huge debatable question. Will we ever know? I don't know. But all I know is there are crazy things happening around the world, and there's only a very small number of us who are enlightened, awakened, and paying attention. That's one of my biggest fears, is that not everybody knows. Maybe a lot of people don't care. But as more and more disasters continue to plague our planet, more and more people are going to start to care. I think that if you are following this information, if you are following me or others, I think as you learn and I learn and, you know, we all learn together, I think that we do have a responsibility now to voice this information on social media. In whatever way you think that you need to do it, we need to start sharing it more and more and more and more. I'm not perfect. I don't find everything, but I do try to look in every nook and cranny for these objects. Do I believe that there is more than one? Yes, I do. I definitely believe that there is more than one. I believe that there is a pretty large one. We've captured that one many times. We've estimated it between 3 and 5 times the size of Jupiter. But are there smaller ones? I believe that there are. some of the data that we've been seeing over the past 2 years is actually proving it. And the observations that we're making, well, I think that they are proving that this is occurring. And ladies and gentlemen, I think that you're looking at the biggest cover-up in human history of this planet. I mean, I think this tops everything. I don't know. You might be able to throw in the little alien extraterrestrial thing there. That's a pretty damn big cover-up. But we know that life exists outside of our planet. Way too much evidence out there to say that, you know, aliens don't exist. But, you know, we really have to guard our planet because this is where we live. This is where we survive. You know, there's nothing that we could do about this. We can't step out there and move this object away from the sun. Nobody can do that. I don't even think the aliens can't even do that. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. Who knows? But whenever I consistently find these objects during our observations and we publicize this information, the trolling operations, well, they turn up the heat. They turn up the heat on me, and they turn up the heat on Dr. Albers. And over the course of the last several days, now once again, these trolling operations, they are sending me email after email after email after email, producing these absolutely disgusting videos. Now they are contacting my father and my grandmother on my father's side. And this lady is 96 years old. They're publicizing her address, my father's telephone number, my grandmother's telephone number. They're sending very, very evil and disgusting emails calling my deceased mother a crack whore. And they're going to decapitate Dr. Albers when they catch up to her. They would like to see her deported. They're threatening my life. They want to see me dead. They're harassing my father. And, you know, now they're harassing and probably creating some situations behind closed doors to try to stop me. I know who these people are. Sorry, I had to take a sip of my coffee there. So, you know, if you think that I sit here and I do this for fun and games, well, you're sadly mistaken. Because if I was just sitting here doing this for fun and games and allowing people to threaten my life and then threaten people in my family, harass people in my family, and threaten Dr. Albers, well, yeah, I would just call it quits. But it's not a game, and it's a very, very serious situation. And these trolling operations, they're basically meant to discourage me, scare me. Well, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen at all. Now, I wanted to get into something here real quick. Earlier today, I was talking with a friend of mine, actually yesterday, and, you know, we were talking about different ways to get the word out, publicize things, get more people involved. You know, folks, I've never been hung up on this damn merchandising stuff, coffee cups, t-shirts, hoodies. But, you know, the more and more and more I talk to my friend about this, and he said, listen, man, you know, you've told me many times before, people bug you constantly for shirts. hoodies, coffee cups. Well, folks, I'm not a damn merchandiser. You know, I mean, this ain't Walmart. And I've kind of totally been against it for quite some time. And, well, I decided to go with his advice. And earlier today, we opened up the Planet X News online store. And again, I've kind of totally been against it. But I think that I'm now starting to think it's a good idea. Because, you know, when you're walking around and you have a shirt like this that says chemtrails, if you don't alert the masses, who will? You know, folks, we all see the chemtrails in the sky. We know they're not contrails in tic-tac-toe patterns and star patterns and all this crazy stuff. You know, I started investigating chemtrails in 2005. In 2009, Facebook terminated my account because I was exposing chemtrails. I didn't care. I just went right back and made a new account. So what I did, and you know, like I said, I took my friend's advice. Let's get out of here. And we created the online store. And I put the link for the online store in the description box underneath all of our videos on YouTube. And there were some advertisements that I posted up on the Planet X News Facebook page today with the shirts. There's going to be many different designs out there. But the reason and the thinking behind all of it, folks, is when someone sees your shirt, Planet X News, we just did a basic one. Now, you know, you're not going to have this this black outline on here. This is just the actual template model. But the online store is up and running. If you want a Planet X News mug, hoodie, long sleeve shirt, short sleeve shirt, they have women's cut if you want. They have children's sizes. These are all high quality material. And these were the two, just let me blow this up a little bit. These were the two designs that that were put together today. And again, you know, I didn't mean this live stream to be this big freaking marketing ploy, because again, folks, I'm not a merchandiser. But, you know, the more and more that I spoke with my friend, you know, he said, this is one of the best ways to strike up a conversation with somebody. Somebody looks at your shirt and they say, hey, John, what's with this Planet X News? Hey, John, what's with this chemtrail? You know, folks, it allows the conversation to open up. Because that person now asking you about your shirt, now their curiosity has piqued. So now that gives you the opportunity to say, hey, this is what Planet X is. This is what Planet X News is. This is what a chemtrail is. Even if you have a short conversation, you can tell the individual, hey, listen, I'll inbox you a link to the channel. I'll inbox you a link to the page. Check it out. Very interesting things. Things that I think that you should definitely know about. So we're going to be adding some different designs, and you can place your order. It's very, very simple. You simply click on the shirt that you want, and you go over here. You want the short sleeve shirt. You could move move the cursor around. And again, folks, once these are actually printed based on your order, you won't have a lot of this black square here. They're professionally done. All you simply do, you click on Buy It Now. You fill in the quantity, the size that you think you want, the type that you want, whether it be the Hanes tagless t-shirt. You could use the drop-down menu for the long sleeve shirt, for the hoodie, or the coffee cup. Oops, I just added one. Let's remove that. And then you add it to your cart. When you add it to your cart, oops, let's add a large for me. You add it to the cart, and then it brings out your checkout. Look, folks, you've all shopped online. You know how to do it. Click to checkout, fill in your information, put your credit card in there. You could use PayPal, you could use whatever you want. Get down here to the delivery. You can click on Rush Delivery. They'll charge you an additional $4.99 to deliver it. Or you could just use Super Rush. And it will tell you. It will tell you when you'll receive it. Click on Place Your Order. And your shirt or your hoodie or your coffee cup or whatever you want, it's going to be on the way in the mail. And it's all drop shipped. None of this is controlled by me. So, like I said, the new online store is open. And, you know, something else that I want to do is, you know, there's not a lot of profit in this because I wanted to try to keep the prices down. But we all know nothing is free in life, folks. You all know that. I can't do anything about the pricing because it does cost money to buy the shirts, do the work for the printing, packaging, and shipping. So, you know, I buy Harley-Davidson t-shirts at my local Harley-Davidson dealership. For a plain t-shirt like this, I pay up to $45 just because of the Harley-Davidson logo. If I buy a hoodie, you're looking at $65, $75. This shirt, the hoodie, $39. It's good quality, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want any of this cheap stuff from, you know, Korea and Vietnam and Indonesia and all that stuff. They use, I think it's Glidden and Hanes products. And same thing with the coffee cup. I wasn't going to add the coffee cups, but people have been bugging me for a year about Planet X News t-shirts, chemtrail t-shirts, hoodies, mugs. And we're going to be adding some new designs in here to just basically try to build awareness. I think it's a good idea to create conversations with people when they ask you about your shirt, about your hoodie. Take your coffee cup to work. Sip on your coffee in front of people. Turn the Planet X News logo straight towards them. You'll create the conversation. Trust me, it works. But again, we're going to be adding some new designs here. And one thing that I am going to do, you know, one thing that I've been very passionate about since my early 20s is feeding the homeless. And I'm going to be donating most of the proceeds, which are very little, to some of the homeless shelters in the Pittsburgh area. Because I don't think there should be one single person on the face of this earth that should go hungry. But yet, you know, we have people that are homeless, freezing to death, and we have people going hungry. Something that touched my heart the other day, once again, is to see people being cited and fined or arrested for feeding the homeless. Yes, arrested for giving someone food. That is the most disgusting, despicable, gut-wrenching thing I've ever seen. When it comes to being a human, the law is going to prevent you from being human, from being compassionate, for having a damn heart to do something nice for another fellow human being. That's just disgusting. So this is what I'm going to do. And whenever the proceeds come in, once a month, we're going to make this donation. And we're going to make this donation in all of our names. If there's just one little thing that I could give back, that will be it. It really does pull at my heart to see what's happening out there. It really does. It rips at my heart every day. Because I watch news and I see reports and I see articles and stories from around the world and also this country that just rip me apart. You know, I publicized a video that was coming from one of the African countries, that everybody is up in arms about Donald Trump calling some of these countries shitholes. But yet they had all of these young students that couldn't have been no more than 9 or 10 years old. These ignorant, disgusting, scumbag people from these shithole countries took all of the students outside, lined them all up, boys and girls. They brought each and every one of them up to a concrete stage, and they whipped them 3 times with a long leather whip with a bone, a circular bone carved out into a sphere on the end of it. They beat these children, every single one of them. If you watched the video on my Facebook page or the Planet X News Facebook page, you would have been disgusted. So when Donald Trump refers to some of these countries as shithole countries, they are shitholes. When it comes to something like that, and listen, folks, that's just not being done in Uganda. These governments, man, there's some really shady things going on within our own U.S. government, the shadow government, the powers that be. What they're doing to children around the world is disgusting. You know, just recently, here in the Pittsburgh area, over the course of the last month, they have arrested and taken down several organizations involved in human trafficking. Mostly women and children. What are they doing with these children? What are they doing with these women? I'll tell you what they're doing. They are forcing them into slavery and prostitution. We don't live in a beautiful world anymore, folks. It almost seems like we're living on the cusp of hell. And if we don't do something to step up and stop it, then it will continue and it will get worse. So I'm going to use what little power I have, and I'm going to use the knowledge that I have And I'm going to do my part. But utilizing these shirts is just a very small part. If any of you want to join in, you're more than welcome to. I would greatly appreciate it. It would be a huge help. I just feel compelled to do something other than sit on my rear end in front of a computer. I just don't think that I could live it down, because I think that I could only imagine if my children were taken away and placed into captivity and forced into slavery and prostitution. I mean, I would go absolutely freaking Rambo. You know, it breaks my heart to see these things, and I don't know what else to say, but I need your help. We all need each other's help. Publicizing all of this is helping in a small way. Because the more and more people that see what is happening, understand what is happening, well, then we increase our numbers. And we're not going to stand for it anymore. We're not going to stand for the corruption. We're not going to stand for the deception, the non-disclosure, the trickery. The word I use is, you know, I'm so sick and tired of their fuckery. Because that's all they do. Politicians, government, police departments, city governments, your own little local town. It's rampant. They're covering up everything that is going on. These idiots just can't come out there and do the right thing and tell the damn truth. They have to immediately cover it up. Make up a story. Meanwhile, here we are, human beings on this earth, trying to live our lives, trying to make do. And this is what we go through. So, I'm on board. I want to try to do my part. I try each and every day to think of new ideas to, you know, help spread the word, enlighten people, awaken people, whatever you want to call it. But, you know, folks, when it comes to, you know, what is happening to these children and what is happening to these women, it makes me sick. It is rampant in Mexico. Mexico has become a very dangerous country. Central America, listen, folks, when I used to travel for my dad's company, I've been to some of these Central American countries. I went to Panama on business, and never in my life was I more scared as a young man. Because they were kidnapping American businessmen, holding them for ransom. I've been to South America. I've been to Colombia. I've been to Venezuela. I've been to Argentina. The things that are going on in these countries, folks, will make your skin crawl. What is going on in the African nations would scare you to death. What is going on in some of the Middle Eastern countries will make you puke. What is going on in some of the Asian countries would turn your stomach. Yes, maybe we can't save the world, but if we save one life, just one, Because of a t-shirt? Because of awareness? Because of a coffee mug? Do you think that's worth your 15 bucks? Do you think that's worth your $22? Just imagine your child or your wife or your daughter chained to a bed. It's disgusting. Some people may criticize me for opening the online store. You're more than welcome to your criticism. But I have plans with the proceeds, and those proceeds are going to help other people. And if you don't like it, I can't do anything about that. Don't buy a shirt. Don't buy a mug. Don't follow the information. Go somewhere else. But I'm sick of seeing it, and it's happening. And governments are allowing it to happen. And our governments are deceiving us. Every turn, there's deception around the corner. Sometimes we as a people, we don't even know what the hell to believe. They talk about fake news. I think a lot of the fake news is put out there by trolling organizations that are operated by, people that are in the deep state government, trolling operations, trolling organizations. They're pretty sophisticated. They think that they're going to get under my skin by, calling my deceased mother a crack whore. And, contacting my father who's enjoying his retirement. And harassing my 96-year-old grandmother on my father's side. They think that they're going to get to me by threatening my life and threatening to decapitate Dr. Albers. But it doesn't work, folks, because I'm not weak. And I knew about their games before I exposed myself to all of this. I'm in it for the long haul. I will continue to talk about this subject matter till I take my last breath. Just because you think that you're safe right where you're at right now, that doesn't mean when you wake up tomorrow morning that things in your neighborhood, in your town, in your city, in your state, in your country are going to be the same as it was when you went to sleep. And then you woke up to complete freaking chaos. It's happening in a lot of the European countries. It's happening in the Scandinavian countries. It's happening here in the United States. It's happening in Canada. It's happening in South America, Mexico, Africa, Asia. It's happening everywhere, worldwide. We have huge problems. There are some days that some of the things that I see, folks, it does scare me. It does get to me. And then I think, oh my God, when is this going to be on my front door? You never know. I'm going to jump in here to some stereo core 2 information. We were viewing, some of you have seen this. I've seen that some other people were showing this imagery on different Facebook posts, wondering what it was. But everybody failed to see what was up here in the corner, where my cursor is. And again, I've been pretty busy over the last couple of days, and I've documented all the information, so I have it all. And I've been in the process of, again, making these photographs into a higher definition. During the video footage, and this was on the 17th, just yesterday. This light anomaly produced itself on the stereo ahead Core 2 image on the 17th at 24:24. That would be midnight. 24 minutes after midnight UTC time. You see this strange round object right up here in the corner. It's only in one frame, but then if you follow this, oh boy, there's a bunch of missing time. Big time skips. We see that a lot. And that's usually a sign that they've deleted footage because they don't want you to see something that was clear as a bell. But they do miss things because it's zipping by so fast in the video footage that you don't see it. But I go through every 24-hour period, I pull it up and I go through all of it frame by frame. And therefore, I'm able to detect the missing time. So I'm just going to go ahead and blow this up a little bit so you guys can see it. It's not going to be too clear here because they're starting to blur this information. So look right here. The hell is that? I mean, what do you think? That just you think that just appeared in this one tiny frame, and then right after it, they skip and delete footage before this frame and after it? I mean, does that make any sense to you? I don't know if you guys can see that real good on your home computers. I hope you're using a home computer because you might have a hard time seeing this on your cell phone. But there's something right there, and it's very close to the stereo spacecraft. And the stereo spacecraft is not in line with the Earth. It is at a different point in space. But when you see photographs like this, you got this big massive sphere. What the hell is that? But again, I'm going to be taking these images and these still photographs. I'm going to be converting all of these to a higher definition, and we're going to be playing with some of the coloration to try to bring this object out a little bit more so we can see what it is. But to me right now, that doesn't look like it should be there. And with all of the missing time before this frame and after this frame is very suspicious. Very suspicious. So we'll be getting to that probably tomorrow. I'll have more time this evening to go over those other SDO photographs and some of these stereo images, and we're going to find out what the hell that is. That's for sure. I'm going to go ahead and back out of here, and we're going to look at the SOHO. This is the C2 coronagraph. Let me go ahead and pull this up full screen for everybody here real quick. Let me enlarge it one more time. So, you know, what we have here on this coronagraph, we see at the very bottom this bright source right here, which is Venus. You know, I had a lot of people arguing with me about that. That's not Venus. That's not Venus. Yes, it is Venus. I've checked it over and over and over and over again. I've checked it with different solar system programs and solar system scope. It is Venus. But what I want you to see here is something very unusual. Now, this coronagraph, the SOHO spacecraft, this again is at a different point, and this is a zoomed in version of the coronagraph. You have the C2, which is blue, and the C2, which is red, and the C3 is blue. The C3 is at a further distance. It's not magnified like this. So for all of you newcomers, the white circle identifies the sun. The darker circle here is the occulter. It's basically a disk within the camera system that blocks out the corona of the sun so we can see solar flaring and coronal mass ejections, as you see right here. But what I'm looking at and what I've been noticing over the course of the last couple of days are streaking objects. And remember, everything is in motion. I understand that. Everything is in motion. These spacecraft are in motion. The Earth is in motion. The sun is in motion. Everything is in motion. However, if you pay very close attention to my cursor, I want you to pay very close attention to these objects that are streaking across the top of the screen. There's two of them. And then here's the third one. Very faint. But that one and this one are speeding through the scene, and I don't know what they are. You have a stationary object right out here where my cursor is. I don't know what that might be. I mean, that could be a planet, that could be Jupiter or Saturn. I didn't check, but I don't care. I want to know what these speeding objects are. And remember, I realize, for all of you freaking trolls out there, you scumbags, I realize that everything is in motion because I know better than you. But I don't see this quite that often, of objects like this streaking across the background. They're not meteors, they're not comets, because comets leave a signature such as what Venus is doing back here. You'll see the long white tail. So these objects actually seem like they are in some type of a very fast orbit. What are they? I don't know. There's one here at the bottom. You could barely see it. What I'm going to do here real quick, folks, let's zoom into this a little bit. So you can see these objects streaking across the background. And again, yes, I understand that things are in motion. But those objects right there, they seem to know where they're going, meaning they're in a very, very distinct set pattern. And I don't see things like this that often. And those objects are moving pretty quick. So as we orbit the sun and the SOHO spacecraft orbits from its position, which it basically follows kind of behind the Earth at another location, another Lagrange point, as they call them, these things are speeding by, and I understand that everything's in motion. But I don't see these types of things like this. You see all of the particles and things, you know, just zipping by. Very interesting. And, you know, once again, folks, always open questions. So I'm going to be investigating a little bit further, and I'm going to try to find out exactly what those objects are. That's really got me going. I've never seen that. You know, I've seen it once or twice. I dismissed it. But now, again, I'm starting to see this, and these objects look like they are in some type of a set pattern, which to me would be some type of an orbit, a very fast orbit. So if any of you want to check that out, that's on the C2 coronagraph, and I plugged in the dates for January 15th through the 18th, if you want to check it out. Now, we're going to go ahead, let me get out of here, and we're going to jump over to some integrated space weather. Now, I've recorded a bunch of impacts on the magnetopause. They haven't been huge impacts on our magnetopause, and I'm going to go ahead and just expand this a little bit. And this is all current information. And for all of you newcomers, our magnetopause, this imaginary arch right here, is considered and named our bow shock. This protects our planet from all of the cosmic radiation from the sun. And you're seeing it fluctuate. These things are abnormal. These are signs of compression. And these are signs that another magnetic field is interacting with our magnetopause, our magnetosphere. Now, it hasn't been that bad today, but yesterday, leading into the, I think it was the 16th, 15th, 16th, and 17th, there were some considerable impacts of very, very high energy blasting directly into our bow shock, which directly impacted the Earth from the front, which is, this is the daytime side of the sun reflecting on the Earth, and this is the nighttime side. This is behind the Earth. What you're going to see in the video piece that I captured, excuse me, you're going to see these impacts come from the front, and you're going to see them come from the back. Very unusual. You can see a little bit of the yellow color, which is back here. That's more intensity. This bluish color is low pressure. But you can see right here, right in the front, the apex of the this arch, our bow shock. You can see those fluctuations, and you can see a pretty massive compression. Those are all suspect. Something is occurring. Something is affecting the Earth heavily. And I'll show you, I recorded all the information from the other day, and we'll get into that. We're going to look at the magnetosphere again. Some very, very strange and concerning anomalies happening. And again, folks, this is all in real time. You can see the intensity right here. Once again, this darker red, this is representing that bow shock. Inside of here, you have the daytime side of the Earth, the nighttime side of the Earth, and right here, that black region right there, that's going to identify the satellite belt. Satellites out in space. You can see right here, our planet is actually interacting with another magnetic field. You can see these field lines, these closed red field lines. You'll start to see them kind of point upwards a little bit, because they're gonna face whatever magnetic field is out here. So you can see it's bending, it's tilting upwards. You see it. It should be directly out straight towards the sun. But you'll see it start to outreach and point upwards. Why would it be doing that? If you put a magnet right here where my cursor is, then the magnetic field of the Earth is going to point right to it. If I move the magnetic field up here, then the Earth's magnetic field is going to point that way. And there are people out there that are telling me and stating that, oh, there's no way the Earth could be tilting. You're crazy. No, you're the one who's crazy, and you are the one who are, you're the one deceiving people by telling them lies. Ladies and gentlemen, if you take a look at what's happening here, and I know a lot of you maybe don't understand all of this. These black lines are field lines. They should be streaming in a nice steady pattern behind the Earth. This model identifies our magnetic field. Our magnetic field, as you are seeing it right now, is in complete disarray. If you see the red here in front of the bow shock, it is completely lit up. Look over here to the right where I'm circling. That is the scale. The red is the highest intensity on the chart, which means, and then you see these fluctuations in color. Excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, this area that I'm pointing to here that's in the dark golden yellow color here, this should be green. Green. If you follow the scale to the right, you will see how the intensity goes straight up. What this is showing you are pulses, impacts into the Earth's magnetosphere, into the Earth's magnetic field. Something is coming in, meaning opposing our magnetic field. It is disrupting everything on this planet. If you see these black lines, these black field lines, do you see how they are reaching? They are reaching for the opposing magnetic field because that is what they are attracted to. That's why this model is something that we watch very carefully, because you are seeing extremes in our magnetosphere right now. You can see by the coloration here in front of the Earth facing the sun, you can see the intensity is at a very, very, very high level. And you wonder why they chemtrail the skies. You know, it really pisses me off when I see these chemtrails, but, you know, I don't know what they're doing up there, folks. Maybe we'll never know. But this is one good reason why they may be doing it. Because this amount of energy that's coming into our planet is very intense. Very intense. Everything that you are seeing here, whether you understand it or not, take my word for it, it is completely abnormal and very alarming. It's not normal. None of it. We're going to look at the solar wind, which is kind of a similar model. The solar wind, all this information is up to date. This is UTC time up here. Follow my cursor up here to the right. We're looking at where it says max. This is the speed of that solar wind coming from the sun. It's in kilometers per second. And ladies and gentlemen, trust me when I tell you, this 300, 500, 600 kilometers per second, this is very, very low when it comes to a situation that you see here with the intensity. This solar wind should be at least 2 to 3 times the speed that it is. With what you're seeing here, this intensity impacting the Earth, this solar wind speed should be at least a sustained 700, 800 to 1,000 kilometers per second, but it's not. It's not. The arrows, these directional arrows, some of them will be longer, some of them will be shorter. The actual length of the arrows is that's coordinated with the actual speed. So you'll see them fluctuate. Take a look at the arrows where my cursor is, right here. Do you see these arrows? They're changing directions. They're heading back to the Earth from the nighttime side of the Earth. And as I mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing behind the Earth in space at this point. There's no other planets back there. But yet we see these directional changes by something opposing this solar wind. So if you have two people standing face to face, blowing in each other's face, it's the best way I can explain it to you. Those are opposing winds. That seems to be what's happening here. Something is opposing this solar wind. I've been seeing this now for months, but it seems to be getting worse. These blue areas that you're seeing bubble out from the back of the Earth, those are extremely low pressures. Low pressure. And in the front, we're seeing extremely high pressures. So there is something behind the Earth that is opposing the solar wind coming from the sun. Therefore, it seems to be slowing the speed of the solar wind. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? You know, it is what it is. But there is definitely something out there that is opposing the solar wind. If you just take a look, follow my cursor right here around the Earth. Do you see this massive red radiation belt around the Earth? Watch it form right in front of your eyes. That's the satellite belt, folks. That's very close to our planet. Very close. Look at the intensity. Those little things that you see moving around there, those are satellites. The little plus symbol, the little asterisk symbol, those are satellites. A little diamond symbol, those are satellites moving around in orbit around the Earth in that satellite belt. Look at the intensity. Where do you think that radiation is going? That radiation is coming right down onto the Earth. It could be in the form of extreme ultraviolet radiation, cosmic, solar radiation. They'll never tell us the truth. And again, that may be a very serious reason why the grid patterns in these chemtrails all over the world, maybe they're trying to deflect this cosmic radiation back into space. We'll never know. Because the people in charge of these projects, they're evil. Why not just disclose it and say that you're trying to save the planet? You're trying to help people. But no, you have to lie about it. You have to make people believe that those are vapor trails coming from airplanes that are making crisscross patterns all over the skies around the world, when we know damn well that big jumbo 747 jets cannot fly that close to each other. It's forbidden. It's too damn dangerous. And why do these planes not show up on the flight tracking software? What, are they turning off their transponders? Why are they not showing up on radar? Every other commercial flight does. Why don't they? Big questions, no answers. More deception. We are right now under the threat of a geomagnetic storm. We're actually going through it right now. It's beginning. I'm going to show you. Let's get out of here. This is some more fluctuations. This is a newer version of what's happening with our magnetosphere right now. This is a new model that NOAA came up with. Once again, you can see the intensity in the front of the bow shock right here. This intensity is caused by the extreme solar wind as it impacts the daytime side of the Earth. Over here, once again, you can see this little small bubble right here. This should be actually straight out in front of the Earth. But you can see the Earth's magnetic field is attracted to something that is in a different region over here. That's my opinion. I could be wrong, but I've been watching this for a very long time. It's definitely abnormal. Look behind the Earth here. Look at this. This is in the nighttime side, folks. You see the little black part right here, the Earth? That's the nighttime side. Look at it. Look at the intensity. Which direction is most of the red? Up here, isn't it? Let's look at the other cross section here. Where is the front of the magnetic field of the Earth that faces the sun? Which direction is it pointing? It's pointing up here. Where is this intensity? Right here. Oh, what are you telling me? These are anomalies? Oh, what are you telling me? This is normal? You may be able to get that bullshit across to somebody else, but you're not going to get that. You're not going to make me believe that, because I know better. Earlier this evening, I was showing Dr. Albers some of this updated information, and she was very concerned at what she was looking at. Very high intensities, folks. Geomagnetic storm, yeah, on the way. We get them all the time. But what you're seeing here with the Earth's magnetic field, not normal in any sense of the word. We're going to take a look right now at the solar wind predictor model. Let me blow this up a little bit so we can all see this. Now, this is the solar wind predictor model. I pay attention to this every single day also. This little green dot right here, that's the Earth. This scale over here defines plasma density in centimeters cubed. This is the Earth, the spacecraft Stereo A and Stereo B. Stereo B has been disabled for quite some time now. I think personally it's a working spacecraft. They just took it offline because it gives us views from behind the sun. Stereo A gives us views from ahead, from a different angle. I think they've taken Stereo B offline on purpose. What we're looking at here in the timeline, the plasma density seems to, it's gone down. They've updated this. The plasma density before this updated, as I was viewing it, had a very, very large spike between the 19th all the way to the 23rd. There was a huge spike right here. They've updated this. I should have recorded it before I started the live stream because, you know, it showed some different anomalies that looked very, very strange. What you can see here, this is the sun, the little yellow dot. This is the rotation of the sun. And you can see the plasma density pouring off the sun, impacting the Earth. This is the radial velocity down below here. This represents the speed in kilometers per second. Now, all of a sudden, all of the spikes that were on here before the update, they've all been taken away. You can see a grazing, glancing blow right here. And I'm going to go ahead and just stop this, and I'll use the slider so we can see this. So here's where we are about on the 18th. Here's the Earth. Kind of a low velocity here in the blue. Let's watch as we progress. You'll see the energy coming from the sun right here. It's a glancing blow by the 21st and the 22nd, but we are well within geomagnetic storm conditions right here on between the 21st and the 22nd. Plasma density up here, let's back it up, and you'll see as the Earth goes through, and bingo, right here, where we will be in hours from now, we're going to go through this plasma density. And then another grazing blow here. And then open space. But folks, this all changes. Between the time I started this live stream and right now that I'm showing you this, all of this information right here on the solar wind predictor model changed. Now that's nothing, you know, out of the norm. It does change as more data comes in. So, you know, this is what we're looking at. Things now seem to be pretty steady. But again, all of this changes. And what we just viewed on those other models doesn't coincide with what we're looking at here. So, you know, that kind of makes me believe that somewhere down the line of information, somebody is skewing the information. Maybe they're not getting it right. I don't know. But it's not jiving to me. Because the other models are showing severe impacts. And this one is not. It did an hour ago, but it has updated itself. And it's not showing what the other models are showing. One set of models is coming from the Integrated Space Weather website. This is coming from NOAA. Yeah. So, you know, you can see how hard it is to, you know, try to get correct information all the time. Try to decipher what the hell are these people doing. Give us the right information. You're looking at the solar proton flux, geomagnetic activity. Everything seems to be ultra low. Very low. This is the LASCO C3. That's showing you Venus again in its transition. No big deal there. Nothing to see. I'll be going over the ACE satellite information later on and taking a look at it. And this over here just shows you the aurora belt. We can go ahead and let that run out, and let's take a look at it anyway, see what's happening. This will show us intensities as the Earth rotates. We'll see if we get into the red anywhere in this area. Seems to be looking pretty normal. Nothing unusual here. Some slight fluctuations. But now there's something I want to show you here, and this is the data that I recorded yesterday on the magnetosphere. But this is something I wanted to show you, and what this model is showing you, kind of in a roundabout way, is kind of the electrical charges in the upper atmosphere of our planet. This is looking straight down onto the North Pole. So I'll try to show you. This is Greenland right here. You'll see parts of the United States roll through from these upper levels. Wait till it turns around. Here's the United States over here. But what we're seeing here, and this is in the red. You can, well, let me go ahead and put this in a loop so it continues to play. What you're seeing here, I mean, if you look at the scale over here, it's pretty intense. So this is a lot of very, very heavily charged, electrically charged particles in our upper atmosphere. Do you see where it's at? I mean, that's pretty strong, folks. And this is all current information from the 17th. I recorded all of this, yesterday. I meant to show it to you yesterday, but I got very busy and ran out of some time. But we wonder why things are happening in our upper atmosphere and why our jet streams are so erratic, and we are seeing all of this erratic weather. Very intense things happening in our upper atmosphere. Now that tells you right there that things are extremely, I'll just say it, extremely crazy. But your local weatherman, he's not going to tell you about that. So, I mean, you can see it. Let's move into yesterday's information that I documented on what was happening with that magnetosphere. Again, yesterday from the 17th into the 18th, I mean, you can see these huge pulses. Watch this side. Watch this side of the screen. When you see the color changes from this green, which is normal, you see these big fluctuations just blasting directly into our magnetosphere, our magnetic field. Just watch it. Boom, boom, boom. Several heavy pulses. What happened after we saw those heavy pulses? Boom, boom, boom. Larger earthquakes. Boom, boom, boom. Larger earthquakes. For those people that think that the cosmic energy that comes from the sun has nothing to do with earthquakes, those people need to stick a bucket over their head and bury it in the sand, because they are outright lying to you. So this was pre-recorded yesterday. I documented all of this yesterday just to save it so I could show it to you guys. And we're going to move to the solar wind real quick. I documented all this yesterday, and you're going to see the same thing. I want you to watch very carefully these smaller arrows. I want you to see how they reverse back towards the nighttime side of the Earth. Once again, you can see the very, very intense red around here. The satellite belt completely radiated. Huge, very high intensity. And once again, you can see these pulses come in. Just look at the screen. Watch the pulses of energy come in and impact the Earth. You know, folks, some of you may think this is boring or it's not making any sense to you, but believe me, what you are seeing is damaging as hell to our planet. It's damaging to human beings. It's damaging to plants and animals. It is just plain and simple damaging. And this is something that's been occurring now for the last 2 years, and the intensity is picking up. It's not getting any better, even though we're moving very close, if not already into a grand solar minimum or a solar minimum. There are very severe fluctuations in this solar wind. This solar wind the speed should be very high. Up here, once again, upper right hand corner. This solar wind should be doubled. 800 kilometers per second. It barely reaches 500 kilometers per second. Look at the arrows change direction and head back this way. Back towards the nighttime side of the Earth. There is nothing behind us in space. There are no other planets behind us in space right now. What is changing the direction of the solar wind? What is out there opposing it? Again, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of questions, legitimate questions, eye-opening questions. I have my theories, but I just don't have the proof what's out there back behind our Earth that has been causing this same situation that you're seeing here time and time again over the last 2 years. But now it's becoming more intense, and that worries me. It worries me because I don't know what's out there. You know, everybody's saying for the last year how different the moon looks. 2016, we had all of those blood red moons, 6 or 7 of them, or maybe even more than that. Kind of very unusual. What the hell is going on? I mean, is there a possibility that our moon has gotten closer to the Earth? I don't know. But millions of people around the world, not just me, are noticing a lot of strange things. Strange things with our sun, strange things with our sky, strange things with the moon. People are waking up. People are learning and people are understanding. And there are factions out there, ladies and gentlemen, that do not want you listening to me and many others. They want to continue to dumb you down to the ground, stomp on you, kick you around like a piece of garbage. You know, people say, well, what do we do? Well, folks, you know, we're facing powers and energies that, yeah, there's nothing that we can do. We ride it out. We become prepared. We become a smarter, more intelligent species, meaning human beings. What I try to do is I try to create the understanding for all of you to simply understand what is happening. Is there a way to prepare for all of this? I don't think so. I really don't. What do? Dig a hole in the backyard? Go live underground like the powers that be in their fancy bunkers? Who in the hell would want to be underground with massive earthquakes rumbling around you? Unless you want to be buried alive. We need to live our lives like we do every day. But we do have to create the understanding so we know what is happening. And maybe we can protect ourselves just a little bit. Maybe God will give us the opportunity to live out what life we all have left. But let's think about society after me and you are gone. Maybe we won't live to see all of this come about. Maybe we will. But what are you going to do? Better understand the situation is what I say. Learn more. Help me help all of you. Continue spreading the information through your social media. Continue speaking about the topic, whether people think you are crazy or what. Let them think what they want. Who cares? You know, I say that all the time, folks. Who cares what other people think? You're trying to help them. I mean, that's all that I'm really trying to do. I'm trying to help the situation. I'm trying to, at least educate people so they have a general place to go to gain this information, like a one-stop shop. Folks, getting into our weather once again. We're going to see some pretty catastrophic situations occur. They are occurring right now all over the world. They're pretty intense. There are systems setting up right now, as you can see, in the Pacific Ocean, off the coast of Japan, and off the coast of Canada, and the west coast of the United States. I'm referring to this system here, this system here, this system here. These vortexes are insane. There's another one setting up here. And I've been hearing of very, very extreme situations that have occurred over the last 48 hours in countries on the coast of France, Spain, and the Netherlands. There were some very, very serious situations in wind conditions occurring in the Netherlands. I have video of it. It's pretty intense. Literally seeing people blown across the street at one of the ports in the Netherlands. The big gigantic containers that you see, the big metal containers with products shipped across the oceans. They stacked them up at the port real high. The wind blew them over. Ripped off roofs of houses. Blew people across the street. Blew trucks over. Pretty intense. Our weather is going to be very damaging, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to change. It is going to get worse as time goes on. You can prepare for this weather, but you have to keep up on the information. And, even though if you have a busy day and a busy life, you're going to have to find a little bit of time to get that information, because that information based on this weather now means life or death. That means whether you make it home that day. You know, case in point, I mentioned this the other day. One of my best friends, his uncle was killed in an automotive accident. He's a tractor-trailer truck driver. He always pays attention to the weather. He got stuck in a situation here in the Pittsburgh area several days ago. Massive whiteout conditions came out of nowhere. 17-car pileup. He ended up losing his life. 62 years old. Kissed his wife goodbye. Went to work. Never came home. So that's reality, ladies and gentlemen. That is reality. You all have families. You all have people that you love. You all have people that you want to see tomorrow. So we're going to be looking at some pretty weird things happening. We're going to be going into another warm-up on the East Coast. The flooding, as I mentioned a week ago, was going to be a major factor. The flooding is just absolutely intense. It is now becoming a worldwide situation of major, major concern, and we've only seen the beginning. You see these vortexes forming? Do you think these are normal in the northern hemisphere in the winter solstice? I mean, these look like hurricanes in the summertime in the northern hemisphere during hurricane season. Where are they impacting? Worldwide, folks. Look at the southern hemisphere. 1 vortex, 2 vortexes, 3. They're everywhere. Not just in the northern hemisphere. They're everywhere. Temperatures, once again, extreme. Folks down in Australia, and they're taking a beating with this temperature again, like they did last year. I think this year is more extreme. And as time goes on, folks, these extremities, they're going to become more and more extreme. More and more extreme. Got a pretty healthy vortex going on right here. Western Australia. Very, very low pressure, very low temperature because of this vortex. But look right outside of it. Look at that. Look at the temperature change from 80 to 102. 80 to 102. 103. I mean, they're baking down in areas of Australia. And then we push on over here, and I want you to watch what's going to happen with this this polar vortex that has dipped down into the United States. And you know, here we are. We're going to let this thing run out. Pay very close attention to the fluctuations in the temperature. Here, let's stop it real quick. 39 degrees above freezing. Remember, all of this was frozen solid like it was last week. Then I warned everybody that these warmer temperatures were coming. We're going to undergo severe ice melt, and the flooding is going to be astronomical. We are getting set up for another round of this, and I think this time when it happens, it is going to be worse than it was last week. But let's just watch it. Just have a central temperature reading here. Look at the temperature fluctuation. Now watch it come in. All the high pressure. And then watch what happens. All of this section, almost half of the United States, maybe a third of it, is going to warm up drastically. And then here it comes again. and then again. I mean, this is pretty intense, folks. It's nice to see those warm temperatures, but in the same aspect, ladies and gentlemen, that's danger. That's extreme danger. Because first you're freezing, then you're warming up 25 to 30 degrees, then you're freezing again, then you're warming up again. Well, what happens? The snow, the ice melts. It floods rivers, streams, creeks, lakes. The stresses on these locks, dams on the river. I mean, what more do I have to say? We have to stay very vigilant. We have to watch what is happening in our locality where you live. Because you can get stuck in one of these situations really quick. Last week, a school bus full of kids right here in the Pittsburgh area. They got stuck with an overflowing river that literally washed out the road while the school bus was in the middle of the road, and it was enough with all of the chunks of ice that were overflowing. It toppled the school bus over off the road and over onto its side, full of kids. So again, when you put your kids on the school bus and you send them to school, you know that you're going to see them when they come home. Maybe you won't. If you're not paying attention to what is literally happening around you, hour by hour, day by day, none of those kids died. None of those kids were injured. Thank God there were other people on the road that helped immediately. Because those water levels, they rose very, very fast and literally engulfed the entire school bus. We want to see our loved ones come home every single day. I want to see all of you come home every single day. So we literally have to pay very close attention to what's happening, because the extreme temperature changes are going to continue. And listen, folks, mark my words. As we move further out of winter time in the northern hemisphere, it's going to be nice to hear the words springtime is on the way. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to warn you right now. Springtime, this upcoming spring in the northern hemisphere, because of the tilt of the earth and because of what is happening in our solar system in relation to what is happening with our Planet X object out there, our tilt, our wobble, and our extreme weather is going to be something that you have never experienced in your life. Mark my words, quote me on that, because we're not too far away from the spring solstice. And these extreme weather conditions, honey, you haven't seen anything yet. It has literally just begun. This will be a worldwide event that will continue. As long as you're on this earth breathing, the same goes with me. This is going to continue, and this is going to get worse. And then, whenever we move into the time change, the southern hemisphere, they're going to be in the same ballpark as we are in the northern hemisphere. They are going to be going through very severe weather. But the majority of the population on this planet lives in the northern hemisphere. So we are going to go from one extreme to the next. So we have to be prepared. Listen, folks, whether you believe in this Planet X object, and I've shown all of you 100 times, it is there. It is the main cause of what is happening. There's no denying it anymore. It's there. It's wreaking havoc in our inner solar system. But preparation with knowledge, knowing what is happening, possibly when it's going to happen, meaning with the weather, these are some things that we have to pay attention to, and we're going to have to adjust our lives to what is happening in order to survive. No, this is not just going to be a one-day event. This is going to continue for the rest of your days on this planet. And for your children, whether they be young adults or teenagers or, little kids or toddlers, they too are going to go through this. But ladies and gentlemen, I think that those extremes are going to be 100 times worse than what we're living today. That's what they have to look forward to. And I'm not wrong on this, folks. I am not wrong on this. There are many, many other people that absolutely 100% agree with me, but they don't have the balls to come out here and say it. I do. You're all seeing it. You're all living it. It's not a one-day event. There is no Nibiru crashing into the earth. Get that shit out of your minds. We're dealing with several objects possibly that are in a very tight orbit around the sun. They are not freaking planets. They are stellar cores. They are remnants of stars. They are very, very, very strong as far as their magnetic fields go. They are locked in with the sun. There's nothing we can do about it, but we have to learn to live with it. We have to learn and gain the information every minute of the day to survive. If you don't, you are going to become a statistic. You may go to work all happy and jolly, thinking that you're going to come home and kiss your husband and wife. Hey, honey, I'm home. But just like Uncle Joe, 62 years old, ready to retire, over-the-road truck driver for 30 freaking years, he goes to work and doesn't come back. An experienced truck driver. He got caught in the wrong place at the wrong time in a whiteout on a highway, 17-car pileup later. He's dead. He's in a casket right now, buried in a frozen ground in a freaking cemetery, and his family still mourning his death. And what did he do? He left behind a wife, 2 grown children, grandchildren, and friends, and people that loved him. I'm not saying all this to scare you folks, but it is reality. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. We as a people, we really do need to start banding together. We need to keep the flow of this information cooking, moving across the internet, across the world. Some of you may think that it's kind of tacky for me to create shirts for people to buy and, wear out there that say Planet X News or chemtrails. Hey, if you think it's tacky, ignore the Planet X online store. Don't buy the shirts. Don't wear them. Don't drink coffee out of a mug that says Planet X News or chemtrails. But let's just say that you do have that shirt on and somebody does ask you what the significance of that is, and you bring them into enlightenment. You just saved a life, whether you believe it or not. That's how deep the thought process gets. I'm trying legitimately to do everything that I can. I wish that I could reach billions of people, but they don't want me to. They threaten to kill me. They threaten to harm me. They threaten to harm my family. They threaten to decapitate Dr. Albers. I get death threats every minute of the day. I could show them to you in my email, but I kind of choose not to. Because the language, I'd have to white out some things and block things, and next thing you know, Facebook's kicking me off for this and that, and YouTube's badgering me. These people that are trying to block the truth are legitimately the scum of the earth. The scum of the earth. Why should they take it upon themselves to deliver death threats to me? You know, sometimes they do scare Dr. Albers, but she's grown pretty tough over the past 6 months. She does see the way that I deal with it. It's pretty disgusting that, you know, you threaten someone's life. You know, will they ever, you know, jump into action and try to take me out? Who knows? Who knows? If they do, there'll be somebody right behind me picking up where I left off, and that's where each and every one of you come in. Because as I've stated, folks, I've noticed over the course of the last 4 months that more and more and more of you are really becoming a huge help. You're really starting to learn how to, you know, make these observations using a lot of the models that I use. A lot of you are really, really getting a good eye for making these observations. You are helping. You are part of this movement. And that's what it is. It is a movement for disclosure. It is a movement for truth. It is a movement for survival. You know, and I'm not talking about being a hardcore prepper, you know, going and living off the grid. I've had numerous people over the last couple of weeks ask me, Scott, where's the safest place to be? There is no safest place to be, folks. We live on a round ball. There is no safe place. It is what it is. Stay put. Stay where you're at. If you start to see things get really out of hand with the conditions where you live, and you have to make a choice to move elsewhere, you know, based on your observations, you will know what is happening around where you live, and you'll be able to make the proper decision where to go. I can't tell you to leave the East Coast and head to the mid-section of the country, because the mid-section of the country is a frozen tundra. And the East Coast, as you can see here, based on this day, is 60 degrees. But yet that changes drastically. So maybe moving around isn't the best idea. Staying right where you're at and trying to adjust to what is happening, unless things become so extreme or areas that you live in get completely wiped out, like what we see happening in Central America and South America. And also in Indonesia and parts of Asia. We're literally seeing small villages and towns wiped the hell out in a matter of minutes. And you know, folks, all of our friends over here in Europe, they're going to be under the gun as things really start to shift. When these things start to shift, the situations in Western and Eastern Europe, they're going to go from good, decent, they're going to go to really, really bad and fast. And you know, YouTube has blocked me from 90% of my European followers. They blocked me. So what am I supposed to do? We have our website. We have over 200,000 people that visit our website every single day. They're able to access the YouTube videos. They're able to watch the information that Dr. Albers and I put out. I'm trying to use Facebook to my advantage. Facebook doesn't bother me, which has been good. But we need to continue to share. Share. Doesn't take but a few clicks of your mouse. Or, you know, you're using your cell phone. Use your finger. Share. Get the information out there. Say something about it. That's all we have left, folks. That's it. We have each other. We may not know each other on a personal level, but we all have that same red blood running through our veins. We are the human species. This is our planet. This is our land. You just have to make the decision whether or not you want to be quiet and keep your mouth shut, or you want to take a stand. Now, you don't have to go out there on the street with picket signs and protest because you may get yourself hurt. But using the power of the mind and our knowledge and the power of social media, while we still have it, is your tool. That's the best advice I can give all of you. Keep sharing the information. Let it go viral. They'll eventually block it all, but at least we'll be able to reach people for now. There is no timeline on this, folks. We are already into it. And this solar minimum that's coming up, or if we are already in it, is going to cause even more problems. So it's going to be like a combined effort between this solar minimum period and, you know, what our Planet X objects are doing out there near our sun. So, you know, we kind of went from a bad situation to a situation that's just, you know, just actually going to get worse. It pisses me off sometimes because, you know, physically there's nothing that we can do about it. We just literally have to live with it, experience it. I mean, that's it. That's it. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. We are living in very, very extreme times. And those extremes, they're going to get worse. I hate to say it. I really do. I really do. But anyways, folks, I really appreciate all of you being here. And I wish every day that I had happier things to talk about. You know. But it is what it is. Once again, for all of you, the Planet X News online store to help promote our awareness. We do have the merchandising. Again, you know, I've kind of been pressured by so many people over the course of the last year to do something like this. And now I'm going to use it to my benefit, and it's going to benefit all of us, because we're going to have the opportunity to create conversations by, you know, hey, what's that Planet X News shirt? What's that all about? You know, what's with the chemtrail shirt? What's a chemtrail? So these are ways that you could help out, folks. And I'm going to utilize the proceeds, and I'm going to go feed some people. I don't care if I get a citation. I don't care if I try, or they try to arrest me for feeding people who are less fortunate, because I will fight tooth and nail. I will fight to the death. We're going to be adding some more designs. And I'll go ahead and I'll leave another link to this on the Facebook page. There were 2 posts today for the new Planet X News shirt, hoodie, cup, and the chemtrails. I'm going to be working on some different designs with my buddy, and we're going to get these out here. If any of you have a suggestion of a shirt that we could use to create awareness, let me know. I'll design it, and we will get it up there. If you want to participate, folks, you can do so. Nobody's twisting your arm. But it will be a big help, because like I said, I am going to take the proceeds, and they're very small, folks. We're not talking like major money here. We're talking a few bucks. I'm going to go feed people. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to feed them. I'm going to do what I used to do when I was a younger man. I used to go, when I lived in Miami for all those years, I used to go down to the, well, what they call the soup kitchens for the homeless. I used to go down on Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter. And I used to help cook the food for these people. And I want the opportunity to do it again. But I want to make a mark. I want to be able to see these people maybe smile, even if it's for just a few minutes, because they are definitely less fortunate than we are. So if you can afford $22, or you can afford a coffee cup, or you can afford one of the hoodies, I'm going to make sure that that we do the right thing. Try to help somebody out. And in the meantime, you're going to be wearing that banner. You're going to be wearing that billboard. People are going to see it. And it may strike up that conversation. Hey, what's that Planet X News? Hey, where'd you get that shirt? Hey, what's a chemtrail? What's up with that shirt? Now, the conversation is open. And that's where you take a stand, and you open up the ears of the individual that asked you, where'd you get that shirt? Now you bend their ear. Now you may have just awoken that individual. Hey, go visit Planet X News. Hey, visit this group on Facebook. Hey, check this out. Hey, you should be aware of this. Do you understand where my psychology is coming from? I hope you do. This isn't some big marketing ploy or some big money grab. This is an idea. People have been asking me about this, to do this for a year. I decided to go ahead and do it. And I think it's going to work. And we're going to do it for a good cause. A very good cause. So listen, folks. Again, I will put the link to the online store. Matter of fact, let me just show you one thing here real quick that we did add to the Planet X News website. Bookmark this website on your home computer. But right here is the direct link for the Planet X News online store. You can simply, boom, click on that link, and it takes you right to the Planet X News online store. Right now, we have these two designs for Planet X News and the chemtrails, And like I said, I'm going to be working on some different designs. If you guys have some ideas on something that will help raise a little bit more awareness on some subjects, you let me know. Drop me an email, drop me an inbox message, and I'll work on it. I'll definitely work on it. But listen, I want each and every one of you to stay very, very safe out there, folks. Our weather systems are going to be changing very, very rapidly and drastically for the rest of this month, January 2018. So listen, folks, all of you, please stay very, very safe. Share the Planet X News information as much as possible, and be part of this resistance. Be part of this movement. You can do it quietly. You don't have to be a big mouth like me. Leave that up to me. I'll take the death threats. They don't bother me. I could use a good fight. You know what I mean? It's been quite a long time since I've got these knuckles all scuffed up. I don't mind doing it again if I have to. And for all you scumbag trolls that think that you're going to threaten my life and threaten the lives of my family and Dr. Albers, hey, whenever you feel big and bad, bring it. We'll be waiting. That much is for sure. Because you're not dealing with cowards. You're dealing with strength and power. And that power is in the unity of all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, again, be very safe out there. Stay in tune with the weather and what's happening in your neck of the woods. I'll be back tomorrow with another live stream. And we're going to have Dr. Albers on with another live stream. And she has some information that she wants to go over with all of you. So make sure you stay tuned. This is Scott from Planet X News. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, folks.